Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alberto Capolacqua, and today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what are the main factors you should keep in mind when you're thinking about buying your first home. So the first and foremost, in my opinion, is you have to consider how close your house is to your job. If you have an occupation, if you're going to school, whatever it may be, whatever you're doing in your life, you should consider how close that home that you're looking at is to your occupation or school. It is really important to check how traffic is in the area you're planning to buy in. And because you don't want to be 45, 50 minutes away from your job every day or from your school every day. So that's, in my opinion, one of the first things you should look at. So the second point is you should check for zoning ordinances and tax issues in the area you're planning to look at. In many occasions, if you're not a real estate professional, you would not pay attention to this one. But it's really key before you buy a house or your first house. You should check what are the zoning ordinances in the area. You should look at whether the area you're planning to look at in the future will be an only commercial area possibly, or is there going to be a mall built around the area? Is there going to be a park built in the area that might, compromise your own freedom or might compromise you from building your own lot if you buy one? So that's a really important one you should look at. Third point you should look at is what is nearby. So what kind of businesses are nearby? If there's malls nearby, what kind of facilities? If there's hospitals, maybe you have some sort of disability. You should definitely keep in mind on buying close to a hospital. You don't want to be too far from a hospital. Fourth point, you should look at how safe the area is. You can do this by either talking to a real estate professional, or you could also go on the web and look at a sheriff website, and they'll show you the amount of crime rates there have been, the amount of crimes that have been in the area, the amount of sex offenders are in the area. Those are all really important statistics you should look at before you move into your new house or before you plan to look at any area or neighborhood. These are things that you should always keep in mind. As well as if you live in Florida or in any state in which there's like large bodies of water, you should look at the flood risk and flood insurances, because in many cases I've seen many people get into really, really bad situations because they did not have a flood insurance and they didn't know that the area in which they were in was not covered, and they had to get into really, really big debts and really awful situations because they did not do the research prior. So if you live near any type of bodies of water, or you should just, regardless, speak to a professional beforehand and check if there's any flood risk and what kind of insurance it is offered in your area. Also, another indicator that the area or the neighborhood you are looking at may not be that good is the absorption rate. The absorption rate basically is an estimator of how many units are vacant in the area or in the city you live in. Basically, if the absorption rate is really high, that means the vacancy is low, which means that most of the units are rented. However, if you're looking at an area where the absorption rate is really low and there's high vacancy, that means that it's either a rural area, or it could mean the unemployment rate is going up, which is also a red flag. Whether you're an investor or a home buyer, you don't want to be in those areas because most likely all of those businesses are gonna be out and you're gonna be left in an area that is far more different than maybe when you first bought the house or when you first looked at it. Yeah, there are many advantages as well as disadvantages of buying a single family house. If you're an investor, there's good news because over 40% of people that rent single family homes, which means you have a lot of potential tenants that are going to be interested in renting your house, which is really good for cash flow. If you don't know what cash flow is, basically you buy a property, whether it be single family, multifamily, and then you put a tenant in that property and that he pays you rent, and basically that rent should be higher than your expenses, and that's how you get cash flow. All of the money that is left basically goes into your pocket, and that's a really good investment if you're planning to build wealth, especially if you're young. It is a really good way to get started. Also, another advantage is the demand.
Eso es para los inversionistas, pero también para
Sí,
las
sí,
personas normales.
recuerda de eso, story time. Yeah, also if you simply are looking to buy a house, motivated sellers. Sellers are really motivated in this industry, and especially single family houses sellers. They're really motivated because they're people just like us. They're regular people that owns a home that's most likely their only home, and changes such as an employment or emergencies happen. Any kind of really drastic change in the family might make a home seller really motivated to sell their house. Sometimes even for a way lower price than it is actually worth, and that's where really smart investors take advantage. They usually buy houses that are worth way more than the price they actually paid for it, and that's how you can make quick equity on the house by buying it at a way lower price than it is actually worth. Well, there are some disadvantages, however, to single family homes, and one of the main ones is that they do appreciate over time, but they appreciate much slower than other type of investments or other type of properties. Also, if you're planning on invest on a single family home, you have to consider either hiring a property manager, because if you don't, you would have to do a lot of work. It is really time consuming. I'm not saying it's not possible, but if you're planning on owning maybe more than one single family home, it is really important you hire a property manager so you don't have that many headaches on dealing with tenants and then running the numbers on the property, taking care of the financial aspects. It is really important you get a property manager or even an accountant to take care of that. Also, when the property is vacant, it is really possible that the property may be vacant, and then you have, for every month that you're not getting paid from a tenant, that's your responsibility to pay the mortgage, to pay the expenses. So that's a big disadvantage of single family homes, which could be for most properties when they're vacant. However, if your property does end up being vacant, you have to take care of all of those expenses and the mortgages. Therefore, that's one of the disadvantages of owning a single family home as well, if you have it for investment, of course. Well, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Today was a short little video giving you guys some information, a little bit of insight of single family homes. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me, my social media pages, which I'll link down below in the description. I am really happy to interact with you guys, with my fan base. And yeah, hit a like button, subscribe, show some support, guys. I really appreciate it. And thanks again for tuning in.